Do you have to pack up and leave Europe right after your Erasmus Mundus Scholarship funded master's degree or any master's degree in general in Europe? This is honestly the question that I get asked the most, and the short answer to it is no. In this video, I am going to share the exact tips I wish someone else would have told me after my graduation, the tips that could make your life so much easier after graduating so you can stay, work, or pivot your next step with confidence. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. I'm Anisha Rada, and my channel is all about informing or helping students explore different academic opportunities abroad, particularly scholarship opportunities, help them build their careers, and also to focus on meaningful self-development. Much of what I share comes from my own experience, so the idea here is to learn together, but at the same time, I will also talk about opportunities that I have not been directly part of, because I would love to provide a broader perspective and pool of opportunities for you all. Now, you might wonder why you should listen to me. I was an Erasmus Mundus Scholar myself, and I talk to new students applying for different scholarships, including Erasmus Mundus Scholarship every year, so you can trust that the tips I am sharing in this video are practical and reliable. If you like content like this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone you think might benefit or anyone who is on the same journey. Do you have to return home? Let's clear this up. Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, unlike other scholarships, does not require you to go back home immediately after graduating. Most Erasmus Mundus Scholarship programs are provided in different universities in Europe, but there are also partners from like Asia, for instance. But for the sake of this video, I'm only going to talk about the programs taught at European universities, because I myself did my master's in forestry from two universities in Europe, one in Denmark and one in Germany. And in this context, most European countries give you a post-study or job-seeking visa, which might usually range from 12 months to 24 months, or sometimes shorter or longer, depending on which country you are in, which is this period which helps you to find a job in the field of your study, or if you already have a job, then transition to work permit. The second year of my master's degree was in Germany. I graduated in Germany, and I was given 18 months for job-seeking in Germany. At first, I thought it was a very long time, but trust me, soon enough I realized it goes super fast. Before you know it, almost all of the 18 months have passed. That is the sole reason I'm creating this video today, because planning ahead is so much important. It gives you breathing room to be strategic instead of panicking about your next steps. The first thing I would like you all to focus on is to get clear on your goals. Before anything else, ask yourself one simple but very powerful question, which is, what do I actually want to do after my master's degree? Do you want to do a PhD, get a job in an industry, or maybe start something of your own? This clarity changes everything. It stops you from reacting to opportunities randomly as they appear and helps you in making intentional choices. Once you are clear, the chaos that surrounds you after you graduate feels a little more manageable. This leads me to the second point that I want to put forward, which is more of an action that you would do before you graduate or during your master's degree, and that is to build strong academic connection. Now let's talk about professors and academic mentors. Not just your thesis supervisor, but any professor who really knows your work and potential. Take your time to connect with them authentically. Share your academic interests, try to learn as much as possible from them, ask thoughtful questions, and discuss where you are headed. Because if you already have a clear idea on what would be your next step once you graduate, for instance, if you want to do a PhD in a certain subject which one of your professors are engaged in, then it might also be a wonderful opportunity for you to ask for any such opportunities before you graduate and let them know your intentions. Another important thing is, when it's time to ask for references or guidance, your professor will know you personally and advocate for you. I have stayed in contact with a few of my amazing professors from my universities who have continued to guide me years after my graduation. And trust me on this one, it makes a huge difference. So never feel shy about talking to professors who are engaged in projects that really aligns with your future aspirations or your interest in general. Asking questions, taking time to discuss with them, not only enriches your own horizon of knowledge on that particular subject, but also helps you understand if you really want to pursue, career in that particular field. So please do so when you are still in your master's degree. Of course, I don't mean you have to force yourself to go and connect with professors, but if you think something is of relevance or specific interest for you and you genuinely want to know more about it, it is always a good idea to discuss and talk to your professors and learn from them. This brings me to the next suggestion. This must be my go-to suggestion to anybody who has recently graduated. It is internships with intention. I find doing internships as soon as you graduate is one of the most amazing ways for you to get hands-on experience in the field of your study, but at the same time also learn how the theoretical knowledge you have built on can be used in a practical setting. I'm not talking about applying to all the different possible internship opportunities that you see, because in the long run, you don't want to waste your time doing internship in an area that you're not interested in. Because at the end of the day, when you build your CV and have experience in the field that you want to work in, that makes more sense than having irrelevant internship experience. And that is why one tip I really recommend is to go for internships early so that you have the chance to filter and see which internship kind of is relevant for your field of study and also resonates with your career objectives, because they give you exposure, help you enhance your skills, and at the same time open doors for further opportunities. And here's a trick that I used which got me into internship opportunities to the different organizations I applied for. So the trick is, number one, research organizations you genuinely like. So you are basically kind of preparing a list of different organizations. For example, I live in Germany, so I would search for different organizations that I want to be a part of. The second one is to identify the right person to contact. And how you can do it is, one way is to find someone on LinkedIn and connecting with people who are working in the organization. It could be contacting them using the email address that has been provided in the website. And the third thing is to send a clear, personalized message on why you are interested in working with this company and a message about what you can contribute to the specific team of this company. I was able to land 2 internships at the same time this way. And if you want, I can make a separate video breaking down my exact approach step by step. Please let me know in the comment section. That brings me to one of the personal lessons that I have learned that I would like to share with you guys as a tip or suggestion. That is to learn the language of the country you are going to reside in. Let me give you a bit of my backstory. So I did my first year at the University of Copenhagen in Denmark and my second year at the Dresden University of Technology in Germany. In my head, when I was traveling from home to Denmark, I had no idea of the fact that maybe I should have learned language, right? And so was the case for Germany as well. So the one suggestion that I usually give to students who are coming with the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship or who are coming to Europe in a self-funded arrangement is, if you can, then do try and allocate time for yourself to learn the language of the country that you are going to be in, or at least the country that you think you will be residing after you graduate. For me, I did my first year in Denmark and then I came to Germany, did my second year and I stayed in Germany. And I think usually, at least for my case, it was easier for me to, continue living in Germany because it was my final year study country than going back to Denmark. I guess that might be the case for most of the students. If you think that way as well, then I would highly recommend that you, at least as much as possible, learn the basic language before you have even landed in that country. And if you cannot, then you should definitely take the opportunity that is provided by the university. They have language classes that will be provided to the students. So make sure you keep an eye on your email. And one thing that you can do is also proactively reach out to your program coordinator to mention that you are interested in the language and to give you details about when the next class is happening. So why is it important? We all know, number one, it opens up job opportunities because oftentimes you will see that the vacancy announcement is published in the national language and they also require you to have some level of proficiency proficiency in that language. And based on my experience, there comes a lot of work and effort if you are trying to find jobs that are in English or where English proficiency is fine to do the job. So it definitely opens up more opportunities if you know the language. The second is it helps you integrate and build a support system. Even your social life would be affected by that, because you would only be in international circles and you would not be able to, enjoy the social sphere as much as you would have been able to enjoy if you knew the language. I tell all of these based on my experience, and I'm still learning German. I'm pretty new to it. And the third is, of course, it also shows employers that you're serious about staying and contributing to that field in that country. A little bit of backstory here as well. I thought, at least my plan was, I would graduate from the 2 European universities and then I would apply to some English speaking countries so that I don't have to learn another language. And that is the reason why I started my language journey really late, and I would not want you to go through the same path. And that is why one of the tips that I always give, which might not resonate with you right now, but honestly it will make a lot of difference in your job searching opportunities once you graduate. Even if you think you will leave country where you have studied your master's degree immediately, like I did or I thought, learning the language is worth it because of all the reasons I mentioned, but also because you never know what might happen in the future, right? For example, for me, I thought I would be leaving immediately, but I am here. I'm working right now in Germany. So there are so many things that might happen. And even if you, for instance, leave, learning a language is an added skill. You can always have that skill in your CV and use it in practical settings. It's only a win-win situation. And I strongly suggest once you are in the country, even better if you can learn the basic of the language before you arrive from your country to your host country, or at least once you are there, try to learn the language as much as you can from your university. And until you are staying in the country, do continue even if you have to by taking external classes. And to begin with, even basic proficiency can give you a significant advantage. So never underestimate the power of learning the language of the country that you are going to study in. I was just thinking about these different points that I'm talking about, and I feel genuinely happy to be sharing this because these are the things I have always shared whenever somebody is asking about what are the suggestions you would give once I graduate or once I finish my Erasmus Mundus Scholarship programs, and I'm so happy to share them with you. The next point is also something that I learned from my experience, and is a very strong opinion but also strong suggestion which can really help you, push forward in terms of understanding how important it is to allocate time for what you want to do, so that you are not stuck in a cycle where you are not able to, focus or give time to the next step that you really want to pursue. And that is to use off jobs strategically. And what do I mean by that? When you come with the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, you are given a monthly allowance, and that is the reason that you don't have to work. Of course, you can work certain hours depending on the country's rules and regulations, but usually you don't really have to because your expenses are covered by the monthly allowance you are provided with. And for self-funded students, they usually do off jobs or do research assistant roles to fund their expenses. So the point here is, after your scholarship ends, if you are coming with an Erasmus Mundus Scholarship or you have graduated, you might not be able to continue the student research mission, for instance, or if you are already doing off jobs, you have to continue. Many of us would take off jobs. So I used to do full-time off jobs. It was exhausting, to say the least. And after the long, exhausting hours, when you come back home, you simply want to eat your dinner, go to sleep, because again, you have to wake up early when you are doing full-time job, and then you don't want to have less sleep than is needed, so you basically repeat the same cycle. You don't really have the energy to open your laptop and look at the vacancy announcement, let alone starting an application. This was a question that would always be in my head when commuting from my apartment to my off job and from my off job to my apartment. Basically questioning what I'm doing here, because I want to do a job that is in my field, but at the same time, I also need to survive. So it's basically, two conflicting things occurring at the same time in my head. I knew there has to be some kind of modification or change or break in this pattern. Otherwise, I will not be able to, leave the off job and go to the job that I really want to do. And here I am in no way saying that off jobs are bad. Of course, they are good. If you enjoy them, you want to do it. Of course, it's your decision. But at the same time, you also need to understand that, again, might vary according to the country. But where I was standing, it was essential for me to get a job, in my own field of study. One, because I wanted to work where I had gained so much of knowledge and put that into practical perspective. The second reason was I needed a job in my field of study to be able to get the work permit. So if I continued the off job, which is beyond the field of my study, and I have to leave once the job seeking visa expired, if I was to continue with the off job. The advice that I'm going to share now is what I did for myself. I decided to do the job for a few months, save enough so that I am able to take a break, during which I would be applying intentionally and with much more focus and time. I suggest once you have graduated and if you already haven't found a job, then the best thing you can do when you are doing the off job is do it for a few months continuously. Save aggressively as much as you can so that it gives you this freedom of being able to take certain time off where you can take a focused break, say 1 to 2 months, and apply for full-time positions where the role aligns with your goal. And this focused window is where I got a bunch of opportunities to work in my field of study. Most importantly, if you stretch off jobs too long, explaining long gaps becomes harder for you to get job in your field of interest. Use off jobs strategically. If you can take part-time off jobs and still are able to manage time to send applications throughout the week, then kudos to you. But if you are doing full-time job and you feel at certain point that you don't really understand what you are trying to do here, then do follow this advice that I have just given to you. And I hope it helps as it helped me. The next point is something that links to the previous point on building the academic connections. Right before you are graduating, do talk to your professors. They can be your thesis supervisors or your professors who taught you certain subjects that you hold a specific interest in. Because whatever your next step is, you will always need professors or academic references. So it's very crucial that you start early with these preparations and kindly ask them whether you are applying for PhD positions or your jobs, that you would be contacting them and would be very grateful if they could provide recommendation for you. And the most important thing that I always mention, make sure once this conversation has happened and they say they would usually be happy to provide you with recommendation, when you are requesting for the recommendation, give enough time to them. One, because they are really busy with their schedule, and second, you want your references to be strong, personal and persuasive, which takes time on your professor's side. I believe I still have a lot of things that I would love to share with you as suggestions or tips. So let me know if you have any suggestions or questions that I can make a detailed video on. And if you have liked this video so far, please don't forget to hit the like button, because that helps support this channel and I would be able to continue doing what I love doing the most, which is helping young generation who want to study abroad, build their career and get into the process of self-development, because that is all that I share in my videos. So give it a like, subscribe if you already have not, and share it with anyone you think benefit from it. Let me now give you a recap of all the different points, which I would call your exit plan summary. So the first thing we talked about was to get clear on what you want right after your degree. The second one was to build strong academic connections. Number third, pursue internships intentionally. Number fourth was to learn the language of the country that you'll be studying in. Number fifth was to use off jobs more strategically towards making your way to your career objectives. And the final one was to secure your references early. These are the tips that I'm sharing, which were genuinely a mixture of what I did and what I experienced, which I don't want you to experience. So I hope these were helpful. Lead your post-graduation journey with purpose instead of reacting to circumstances as they appear. I know this journey isn't easy, but I truly believe in you. Remember, this is about practical self-development, and together we learn as we go. Let me know in the comments below where you are at the moment. You are applying or soon planning to apply, graduating soon, or job searching. I read all of your comments and I'm here to share what I have learned so that you don't have to go through the same difficult circumstances that I have been through and could gain a value or two from these kind of videos. Again, if this video helped, like, comment, subscribe, and share it with someone who's feeling stuck after graduating. Also, the most exciting part is that the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship will be opening soon in the upcoming months. So check out these two videos if you are planning your application, or watch them again for a good revision. See you next time. Same energy, same love always. Bye bye.